Hi, I'm George with NS345. Welcome back. Before I get into today's video, I want to share a couple of things that are going on. Number one, I'm going to be changing the name of my channel to Music Production Alliance. As long as I've been making videos on YouTube, the name of my channel has been called NS345, and I have special reasons for using that specific name. Now, a lot of people have shared with me that they thought that that name would not be as popular, or it wouldn't be easy to search online when people were looking for tutorials or information about mixing. After considering some good feedback from some of my friends and a lot of the subscribers, I decided to change the name. I had a lot of help from some of the subscribers deciding what kind of name I was going to use, and I just want to thank the guys out there for that. So I want to show you what the new name is going to look like and why I'm changing it. Okay, so the first thing I want to share with you is my new logo. If you look at this screen, the new logo is comprised of a person playing a sax. And I like the red color just because that's what I was using with NS345. It's one of my favorite colors. And you can see here, it says Music Production Alliance across there. And the word alliance is at the bottom. And just a couple of little lines, nothing fancy. But basically, all I want to portray with this is that, hey, we're a music production group where we all help each other, where we all learn from each other. And we are an alliance, in essence, a community that helps each other out to grow in production, mixing, and mastering. So this is the extended logo that I'm going to be using. And I have the shorter version of that logo just with the initials, the acronym MPA, Music Production Alliance. And again, I got my man here playing sax. This time the color is inverted. The outside is red and the sax man is white. So this is how you're going to get to know the channel now. You'll still recognize the red color and the black letters. And you'll always see the young man there playing sax. But I really like this logo and I hope you like it too. Anyways, more news to come, and now I'm going to jump into the video. But just real quick, the YouTube channel name will be changing, so you will be seeing the name going from NS345 to Music Production Alliance. On my last video, I processed the drums. I added a bit of reverb to the drums, to the snare, and I used a bit of parallel compression. That worked out great, except I've been having so many technical difficulties with ScreenFlow and just with my interface in general in terms of how it all works together. So I had a lot of setbacks, and I actually had some good videos, but I actually chucked them. Today, I had like a 45-minute video on what I did today to the mix, and I got really upset, and I just deleted the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is the work that I did, as you know, I like to capture my process so that I can share with you. But what I did is I deleted that video. So I'm just going to go over what I did, and I think I've made some good progress, and I hope that you like these techniques, which I'm quite sure you're already familiar with. I'm going to mute a couple of things here, but anyways, let me just explain to you what I did first of all. I went back to the drums, and as you know, we had a snare track, and it was only a top snare microphone. I didn't get a bottom snare. So I had one track, and there's a part on the song where there is a rim shot, okay? The rim shot was really low, and it just didn't fit well within the mix, especially how I was processing the snare. The same processing that applied to the snare did not apply to the rim shot. Okay, if you don't know what a rim shot is when the drummer actually gets the drumstick and hits it on the ring of the drum, creating a rim shot sound. So what I did is I took this section here, I copied it, and I brought it down, and I gave it its own track. So basically, you only have a few sections where the rim shot plays, and it's right there. And let me show you what the rim shot sounded like prior to the additional processing that I did, or the separate processing. Sitting alone with you. Okay, pretty boring. Again, the processing that I did to the snare did not apply to that. So I decided to create a duplicate track, but just using the rim shot. This is what the rim shot sounds like by itself. And this is what it sounds like in the context of the drum mix. Without it. Okay, and this is what it sounds like in the context of the mix. Sitting Okay, now the volume on the guitars is really loud, and I'll explain that in just a bit. But just to finish up what I did on the drums, I took the rim shot from the original snare track and I brought it down into its own track and gave it its own processing. Let me show you the processing that I did to the rim shot. I basically used the VMR, the virtual channel console emulation, and you can see it's peaking right about 0. No big deal. I also use the RS56 EQ. And if I solo it real quick, you can hear what it's doing. That's that nice top end. Then I use the transient designer. I use this to give the stick sound a bit more attack. Just a touch. And lastly, I added a high pass filter or a low cut. And I pushed the low cut all the way to 244 hertz. And this is what it sounds like with it. Bypassed. When it's bypassed, you can hear the kick more. And I just wanted to have a super clean rim shot. Okay, and this is what it sounds like with all the plugins bypassed, all the processing. Okay, I also, as you know, I did some parallel drum processing, so I sent that to the parallel drum bus, and I added a bit of reverb. And what I did is I used a hall just to give it that a little bit longer decay, that sizzle, which is the pop. You'll hear that. That's what it sounds like dry. Okay, I used 2 reverbs. The first one was a large hall, and the second one is just the room verb, which is what I'm using with the drum mix. The biggest challenge was controlling the decay and just making sure I had the right timing. I don't get all mathematical with it. I just do it by taste, what sounds right or what feels right for me. Okay, so this is the rim shot without any processing at all. No effects. Barely can hear it. Okay, now let's hear it once again in the context of the drum mix. In the context of the mix, and excuse the guitars just for a minute. Sitting alone with you. Okay, let's go to the guitars and let's talk about what I did with the guitars.